Shelby. I'm so excited for this call and to be able to hear your journey and where you're at. So, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. Let's go ahead and start with just having you introduce yourself and maybe share a little bit about where you were before you found this program.
Okay, so I'm Shelby. I have been married for 6 years, and I actually married my high school sweetheart. So we've known each other for forever, and we've been together for 12 years in March total. But I would say my story starts before we were married. I guess back up to being a teenager when it was time for like puberty. I was really nervous about my body changing, and I really wanted nothing to do with that. I didn't want to even learn about it. I kind of wanted to like disengage from that even happening. And then when I got my cycle for the first time, I was petrified and I was like, oh goodness, I should probably learn a little bit of something. I remember trying a tampon and being like, well, that's not comfortable. So I'm going to use the other options out there. And so that was the start to like how I was viewing my body. And I honestly had wished I could use tampons, but I was like, there's other options out there. So I'm just going to not let that control my life. So then when my husband and I were dating in high school, we were both believers and we really wanted to wait before having sex until we were married. And that was really hard for us. We really liked each other and we were praying, and God really helped us with that, remain pure. But a couple months before we were married, I was talking to a friend about intimacy. And, I just had questions. I didn't really know anything. Once again, I tried to disengage from all of that. And she started talking about how sex was painful and describing it as like a knife jabbing you, basically.
Oh,
And now that I think about it, I'm like, maybe she had vaginismus and she didn't even know. But that's what she told me. And I was so excited for this. And in my mind, I just started spiraling. I remember that was the same day we had premarital counseling, and I was like, I'm scared of this. I don't know what to do. And so he was like, why don't you talk to another friend? So I went to another friend and I talked to her, told her what the friend had told me, and she was assuring me, but she did say I could understand kind of where this fear of pain is. And all I heard in my mind was, oh, so there is pain. Like, you're affirming that. So I asked another friend, and she sounded very similar. So I had just clung to this idea of intimacy equals pain. And so our wedding night, we didn't do it. I was incredibly nervous. And then our honeymoon, we weren't able to. We tried, but it was incredibly painful. And I don't know, I feel like I grew so numb. I was like so shocked. I did not understand what was happening, especially like knowing that we waited for sex. And I was like, God, you should be honoring this. What is happening? And we got married right before COVID. So everything shut down 2 months later. And we just really didn't have any community because the church was shut down too. And 6 months into marriage, he encouraged me to go to the doctor. And that was incredibly scary for me. But when I went, they tried to do like a pap smear. Everything was impossible and everything was very painful. And that's when they told me for the first time, I think you have vaginismus. And so she recommended me to a physical therapist. And I started going. She introduced dilators to me. I did it for about 3 months. I got maybe the third one in, but I was like so unmotivated. And it felt like it really wasn't addressing much of an issue at all. So I just kind of quickly fell off the bandwagon. Like I just didn't do the dilators anymore. I felt very depressed. My husband was very depressed. But then he encouraged me a couple months later to try again. Like he was always the one encouraging me because I just felt like I had no strength to do it. So we found a program in New York. We drove up there. It was 4 hours away and had a consultation. And I had my first appointment with them. And I lasted 10 minutes in there. And I just was like screaming. I was in pain. And they actually said some pretty unkind things to me, which like spiraled me even more. So it really wrecked me. And I was like, we just drove 4 hours here, 4 hours back. So they're like, we'll try again, but this time we're going to medicate you. So then I had to be medicated to come up to do this. And then it didn't work again. And I was like, this is terrible. And they like really claim to be like the savior of vaginismus too. And I was starting to believe that, and I felt really crushed. And then when it was time to go back, I just really prayed and I was like, that's not what God has for me. And God is the savior. Like, he's the one that's going to heal me from this, not them. So we decided to stop that. And then probably about a year went by until my husband encouraged me again. And then I found another PT, and she was great. She heard my story. I built trust with her, and she helped me get through my dilators. And after that, we were able to have sex for the first time, but it was painful. And we were able to do it about 5 times. And then I got pregnant. And then after that, which was really exciting, but then after that, like, I was too scared to try again. And it was so my whole entire pregnancy plus a year went by. So that's almost 2 years of us not, like, barely ever trying anything. And we really wanted another baby, but we knew we needed to deal with this. And so he found some type of video on Facebook. And he's like, this is wild. Someone's actually talking about vaginismus. So he sent it to me, and I started looking up your videos, and I was like, I am shocked. Like, I've never heard anyone talk in the detail of everything I've experienced and, like, actually have like a solution. And I was just like, we have to do this. Like, this is God leading us in the right direction. But that's everything leading up to coming to this program.
Oh my gosh, Shelby, you have been through a lot. I'm so sorry that this has been your journey, that the pain, the misinformation, the more misinformation, the mistreatment, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, it's the medical gaslighting. That's a lot. I'm glad you have found some positive, like some lights along the way.
Yes.
It sounds like your first gynecologist was helpful in a sense. Like, she actually gave you diagnosis, which is huge, and give you a referral. And you had some good pelvic floor therapists, which is also great. And so you ups and downs and in and outs of different treatments and pelvic floor therapists. It had some really great times, had some really bad times. So when you found this program, what made you decide that this was the right fit for you? Because I can imagine it would have been daunting to be like, am I going to try another intervention? How did you come to the decision that this is what I'm going to do?
Everyone else had not been able to give me enough background and support for what was going on. Like, even simply through one video of yours, I was like, you actually know what I'm going through. And you actually can talk about it from experience. And I felt like that was a pretty big game changer for me. And also the mind component, like, everything had just been body. And I was like, that is helping me a little bit, but I can tell that there's a lot going on in my mind, and I have no idea how to figure that out. So seeing that you were pairing all of that together, and that you're a Christian, that was a huge thing for me too. I'm like, oh, this is rooted in God's word too, and I need that as well. So just all three of those felt like this is the right approach to this. And you're not just like leaving one piece undone, like, you're going for the whole body approach. And I was ready. I was like, you know what, after everything I've seen, this seems like the actual correct way to heal this. And it doesn't feel like a scam, doesn't feel like that. It's less personal. It feels very like this is intentionally deep and how you can grow and change not just this part of your life, but all of your life. Yeah.
Wow. I'm encouraged because so much of that was my heart in my own journey of healing. Was I felt that there were so many pieces missing, because it was like, body centric stuff, or maybe I would go see a counselor and it was like very mind centric stuff, but they never merged. And
Yeah.
it always seemed like there was like these two siloed worlds, and maybe healing happened a little bit in them, but it never correlated to intimacy. And I just felt
Mhm.
so unsupported in that. And that's what led kind of my husband and I to get creative in a sense and get curious and figure out, well, what are we going to do to get past this, and recognize like the elements that we're missing. And yeah, you're right. The whole goal was to create that holistic approach, because we are deeply beautiful people that have very many layers, and we're not just a pelvic floor, and we're not just a brain that needs a little bit of support. It's
Mhm.
all integrated. But it wasn't until we were able to do that we were able to actually get past it. And so I'm encouraged that was something that was of value to you and something you saw before joining, and that's what motivated you. Because I mean, I'm glad that I got to watch your journey transpire in this, but I'm more so just excited for your marriage and where you guys are at.
Mhm.
And everyone's journey in this program is different. And there's always some things resonate with others, some things don't. But generally, we see, healing happen in more ways than just penetrative sex. Because, yes, we love the idea of being able to enjoy penetrative sex, but there's so much more that we can grow from. So, we'll get to the penetrative sex in a bit, but share with me a little bit about what were some of maybe the other ways that healing has impacted your marriage and your sense of self.
There's so much. For marriage, there was so much of me feeling like I was going to let him down because I had rejected him in the past and because I wasn't capable of doing this act. I just, every time we had any conversation about intimacy, it was the thought of I'm going to let him down would trap me and make me spiral over and over again. And I would never feel present in the moment, even if we weren't trying to have penetrative sex. Like it was just a lie that I was like fully believing. And through this program, like we're talking about like trust, building trust with each other. And I trust him in every area, but for this area, it was so hard. And because of, I think it was in phase 2 or 3, we just started like breaking down layers. And I started to like truly believe he does have my best interest in mind in this area. He doesn't actually want to hurt me at all. And I know that of his character, but it wasn't connecting until we started talking through these things. And like, I was really like letting go of control and, oh, I can trust you in this. I don't have to shut down. I don't have to close everything up. Like, I can be safe with you. So our marriage has improved so much. Like even conversations about maybe one of us wants to do it, the other person's not sure. It doesn't lead to we're super disappointed. It's like now we can talk to each other and be like, it's okay. I know your character and like you're not trying to hurt me and I'm not trying to hurt you. And that is, oh, it's so freeing. Like we just our trust and our conversations and communication is so much better. And then for myself, like I have always been a very fearful, anxious person. And I actually get heart palpitations that happen pretty sporadically. I think it's due to stress. And I've been able to use a lot of the mindfulness tools and resources to help calm me down because I would then spiral when that would happen. I'm like, oh no, what do I do? And now I just like, I know what to do. And it calms me. And I'm like, wow, this is so, it's just freeing. I feel like I don't have to live so stressed out and overcome by my emotions and feelings. Like I can actually use tools and then continue to process through my day. Like I don't have to be in the, I think it was like the hyper arousal state or the hypo. Like I was there all the time. And I'm like, okay, I can make this bigger. Like I can actually function here. So it's amazing. So thankful.
It's transformative, isn't it? I love that you've got the tools and the strategies and are using them and are seeing that in various different avenues of your life because it rarely is just about the bedroom. There's
Mm-hmm.
usually overflow from relationship and how we treat ourselves and how we even function at work and school and just in our
Yeah.
own heads, and that overflows in the bedroom, and it kind of is just a flowing mess everywhere. But once we
Mm-hmm.
start to really learn what it means to be there for our body and our nervous system and what that looks like and get the right strategies and tools, it makes you a whole new person. It's
It does.
awesome. And I know
Yeah.
for us, it like transformed our marriage completely. And I know for a lot of clients too, that's the case. So I love, love, love that you guys are at like this base foundation. And you said it perfectly of really trusting each other's intents. And yes, we do. We trust our partners, but really at that deep, vulnerable core, being able to have that is so freeing. I love it. So you also mentioned on your celebration like form that you submitted that this program helped with increased desire and arousal. Can you talk about that?
So I have been able to orgasm before, but I really struggled a lot with a feeling as if it always took me forever. And like I love in your program, I forget what phase it was, but you're talking about how God intentionally designed women to take longer in coming to that state. And that freed me up so much. Like, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is not me being broken. This is the way God designed me. And that He designed for it to be connecting and not like a fast, quick, like, here's enjoyment. It's no, let's enjoy each other. So like knowing that was so freeing to just enjoy having sex. And when we were able to have PIV, I have been able to orgasm at the same time he was, which I was like, that is wild. That could even happen. And I know not everyone can even have that. So I'm just like, wow, God, thank you. That is such a sweet gift to have. And to know, like, it is just a sweet gift. It really is. I'm just so thankful. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's so special. I know the desire and the arousal piece is hard for a lot of people. And it goes with like, par for the course. If you have pain and all of the emotional drama that vaginismus is, of course, we're not going to desire that. And so I love, though, that in your journey of healing, you've almost restored that piece too, and have seen that flourish and value your own sexuality, which wasn't something that was ever taught to you or
Mhm.
celebrated for you. So the fact that now you're
Yeah.
standing here celebrating that it can maybe take a while and that you can have the ability to coordinate things and time things is that's so
Mhm.
special. I'm so encouraged that you've gotten to this point and that you're able to see yourself with such confidence in the bedroom and enjoy
Yeah.
that. Because
Even like thinking about it was really hard for me to be present. And I would just be like, I didn't do the dishes, or now I have to do this tomorrow. It's just like, why am I over here? I can just be here. And those tools really helped pull me into the moment and then just be able to enjoy it. Like, I don't have to worry about the next thing. It doesn't matter. Like, I can just be present. And just having those tools were so helpful. So,
yay, I love that you have found the right tools that can help
yeah.
support your body and your nervous system during some of the more intense times to kind of keep focus. So
Yeah.
yeah, this is so good. Okay. So we've kind of talked a little bit about penetrative sex. So let's just rip the band-aid off. How is sex now? How are things going?
It's good. We definitely still have some ups and downs, but I am not fearful because I have all the tools that I need. I do know that I am healed. I see that nothing is wrong with me. So it's just truly, am I regulated in that time? Did I set myself up for success? Were there other factors that both of us didn't set ourselves up for success here? So it's just been really freeing to see those moments of, yeah, this one was amazing. This one was a little harder, and that's okay. I feel like we're in the stage of we're on the bike, the training wheels are off, but it's still wobbly. And we're working on like soaring. Sometimes we have soaring moments, sometimes not so much, but we're on that trajectory of we're able to stay afloat, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's actually a really beautiful space to be because you're in it together and you're
Mm,
able to communicate well. You have a deep sense of trust and vulnerability. And so you can wobble on a bike and be a team about it and
yeah.
be able to communicate about it. And that's going to lay the foundation for whatever future bike ride is going to happen that's a little wobbly. The skills you've learned now and what you've been through now is going to help in so many other avenues of hard things that you guys are going to go through.
Yeah.
And I love that perspective about the bike because and it's good too because it is like a bike. You know, you never really forget how to ride a bike. Maybe, you know, if I haven't
Mhm.
ridden in a few years, I get on one, I'm like, ooh, my butt's sore and this is weird.
Yeah.
But you still know how to ride a bike. And so I
Mhm.
think you're right. We're doing that, we're switching the neural pathways over to make this your long-term way of intimacy getting to be experienced, but not just
Yeah.
that, but your relationship and how you guys communicate. That's a really beautiful example. So through it all, though, I ask all my clients who graduate this question: is penetrative sex worth it? Is going through all this work and all the effort and all of the things that you've done all these years, is it worth it to get to this point where you can now have penetrative sex?
So worth it. I mean, like, I am a truly different person than I was 6 years ago when we got married. And I feel so much freedom in my life in so many capacities. Like the fact that just I've always been fearful and I've been able to just conquer fear after fear. And it's given me more confidence to go to the next thing. And just our marriage is so filled with joy. And I feel like we do have the tools that when life just hits us with anything, like we have those tools now to communicate with each other. And we're like, we got through vaginismus. We can get through anything now. We're okay. You know, that was really hard, but there's so much beauty, and God's design for sex is so beautiful. I've heard so many people talk about it, and I'm like, man, one day I'll get to experience it. And now that I have, I'm like, wow. I'm just so thankful that he was so kind to think about giving us that. Like he didn't need to give us that, but he has, and I'm just so grateful to enjoy that. And I know it can be hard when you're stuck in the midst. Even if someone's going through this for 2 years, 1 year, couple months, it's hard. That doesn't matter if it's been 7 years or 2 years. Like the journey is hard, but it is so worth it in the end to experience that freedom and the joy of intimacy.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And like the journey is the Lord's and his timing. And so whether it is, like you said, 1 month or 2 years or 7 years or 8 years for me, and we've had clients who've been married for 30 years and not been able to have penetrative sex who are finally able to,
Yeah.
like it will be good because we
Yeah.
know we have a God who takes messy situations and turns them into beautiful things, and he won't let this go to waste. And you're
Mhm.
right, like there's so many times my husband and I are like, oh, we survived vaginismus, so we can get through this. And it set us up
Yeah.
for being able to handle hard situations early on in our marriage. Like right off the bat, we
Mhm.
had to learn how to start problem solving and being there
Yeah.
for each other and being vulnerable. And you can
Right.
take that and let it dysregulate you and spiral you, or you can take that and open your hands up as an opportunity for the Lord to showcase his glory. And Shelby, that sounds like what has happened here. And you just being so faithful to continue in your journey, despite all the setbacks and hard times you had to get to this point now.
Yeah.
What were some of the things that just kept hope alive for you?
Think part of it was bringing a lot of truth to light. With vaginismus, it's so isolating. Like it's something you don't talk with everyone about. And I just felt so incredibly alone. And I remember having my first call with Olivia, and I'm like, you're in Australia and you're experiencing the same problem? Like, so many people around the world, and being a part of the Zoom calls, like doing that every week was so encouraging to my heart to see so many women go through it and know that I was not alone. And like, when you feel alone and isolated and you're only processing your head, like you're just going to continue to believe those lies and continue to live in fear. But once I got to see and just start talking and getting it out, I was like, God is just, I mean, that's why he gave us community. He wants us to encourage one another. And I felt like being a part of the Zoom calls and seeing the truth, like seeing the science, seeing the way God designed us, I was like, oh, this is something I can walk in freedom in. And that's what gave me a lot of encouragement going through it. And anytime I conquered something, it gave me enough to conquer the next thing.
Yeah, you said it so beautifully that like just the value of community. And I really think that one of the things that does continue to help us have that hope is having others surround us that are in similar situations and who can complain about the stupid things of dilators and spilling lube on the sheets and all of the stuff that comes with
Yeah.
that, but also who can celebrate the joys of the little things. Like, guys, I was able to calm my heart rate after this didn't go the way I wanted. And we all know what that moment is like and can be there for one another. And I really think that the enemy's number one goal in keeping us rooted in pain in our marriages is isolation, being alone. Because when you're alone facing something like vaginismus, you feel broken. You feel
Yes.
you're like despondent. You are just beside yourself. And it's so impossible to keep motivation and keep hope going when you're in that state. And I think isolation is the number one thing. And so that's why we in our program really lean into community with,
Yeah.
the group calls and the prayer groups and the, community hub that we have online and all this stuff. Because I've
Mhm.
found that the more we lean into, and this is how God designed a church, the more we lean into others, the more we keep the sight of heaven and keep that hope going. I'm so glad that was something you saw. And then you also mentioned how, conquering one fear helps you to be able to take that next step towards that next kind of greater fear. And I
Yeah.
also think that's how God works. Like he gives us enough mercies each day to be able to handle today's
Mhm.
issues and today's problems. And if we
Yeah.
look at the bigger goal, which for most of us is penetrative sex, not everyone's goal. If we look to that bigger goal, it is terrifying to think of that and all that comes with that. But if you just start with, okay, today I'm going to show up and I'm going to do this and this that's right in front of me. And once we do that and say, oh my gosh, I did it. I'm strong. I'm confident. I
Mhm.
can do these hard things. That goal, eventually that gets closer and closer. And before you know it, you're like, oh my goodness, it's here. I did
Yeah.
it. So,
Yeah.
wow. Okay. So practically, are you still using dilators?
No, I threw them away. I honestly didn't want it. I didn't need them. I felt like that, like looking at it, I was like, that's reminding me of vaginismus, and I don't have that anymore. So I'm not going to try to lean on that. So it felt so freeing to throw it away.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, you, you don't need that. You don't have vaginismus. You can throw them away. And I think that's beautiful.
Mm.
Dilators serve a great purpose, but that
They
purpose is
do.
not what you need anymore. So I applaud just recognizing that and setting yourself free from them. Okay, so if you could whisper any advice to yourself from back when you're first starting this program, or even just somebody else is just starting out right now, what would you say to them?
I would say we could talk about it a lot on the group calls, but any little step is moving in the right direction. I felt like we talk a lot about perfection and pressure. I felt like I needed to follow the course exactly. And if I couldn't do the journal entry, then I wasn't done and I couldn't move forward. And that really hindered me a lot in the beginning. And I realized like I I can keep moving. I can take small steps and that is a win rather than following it all to a T. So once I started like letting go of that pressure of it, I'm not doing it exactly the way my brain is telling me to do, wants me to do it. I'm just walking in the steps. That's when I felt like I had a lot more freedom. So I would say don't hinder yourself because you have this idea of perfection with completing this course in the way you want to. And I would encourage you lean into community, join those calls, even if you're just listening and you don't have any questions. Listen to other people and how they're dealing with it. Like it'll encourage you so much. And know that there is so much hope and so much joy on the other side. That it's not just something people say because they want to encourage you. Like it's actually true. And lean into the Lord in this because He wants to carry you through. Like really lean into the Bible studies that are at the end of each course and like dive into those too because God has a way for us to release things to Him. Like it's already there in His design and we can just open it up and see.
Oh, it's so beautiful, Shelby. I mean, God's plan is far better than ours in so many ways. And sometimes that plan like He wants us to lament and cry out and to come to Him in our pain. There's no way our human brains can understand all the intricacies of that, but He wants us to draw near. And yeah, I love that you did that. You drew near, you leaned into that, you opened your hands up in trust and had yourself do hard things and made some mistakes along the way and was able to regroup is beautiful. And especially because so many of us are perfectionists. So thank you for encouraging others to make that shift too, because it's a common struggling point. Yeah, Shelby, thank you so much for your vulnerability and sharing your story and being willing for others to hear it. Is there anything else that you want to share or say, or just encouragement that you want to give to women out there who might be facing this?
Know that you're not alone, that you're not broken. Don't believe that lie. Speak truth to that and let it out. Don't just keep thinking in your mind and letting it stay there. Let that come out and then put truth to it and find community. Find people that will, it doesn't have to be a lot of people, but if it's just a few that you trust, like they're going to be the ones to encourage you and build you up. God designed it that way and trust the way that God designed things because there's so much freedom in that and there's so much joy when you walk into that and know that your journey is none of it is wasted. Like every tear that you've shed, all of the years, all of the pain, all of the hurt, like God can totally restore and use all of it for His glory. And one day you might be able to encourage a friend or a sister or maybe on a larger scale encourage others. Like it is so cool to see that God is in the business of reconciling things and restoring things and you get to witness that firsthand. So don't lose hope, keep going and know that and God gets all the glory and you get to experience part of that. So yes.
That is so beautiful. I couldn't have said it more perfect myself. So thank you for your encouragement to me for sure. And to I know so many who are listening to this and just for the impact you've had on so many of the clients in our program. Graduations are hard because, obviously we're celebrating huge things and we don't want to keep talking about vaginismus. So we want to move on, but we do form a really sweet community. And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm really sad that you have
Yeah.
graduated and we do have the graduate group if that's something you're interested in to continue having the weird, awkward conversations that we've all loved to have in the
Oh, yeah.
program. But it is bittersweet to have these calls. But I'm so excited for you, Shelby. And just you've been an encouragement to my heart in the way that you've just been obedient to what God has called you to on this hard journey. So thank you. Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you. I'd love to encourage and even talk to doctors about it and recommend your program too. Like I want freedom for so many other people. So I hope to continue to do that.
Yeah. Oh, there's so many women out there that face this that just have no hope and nowhere to turn. So share however much you want with whoever you want, but I know no one talks about this, so we
Yeah.
need more talking and advocating. Thank you so much, Shelby. This was a joy.
Yeah, of course. Yes, thank you.